Okay, so now multiplying polynomials. Oops, my cats aren't getting along. I'm going to try to explain multiplying polynomials a lot better than I explained adding and subtracting. Those positive and negative numbers, man, they are tricky and they always surprise me. Let me share my screen here. And where am I in the right spot? I'm in the right spot. Okay. So again, this is our Unit 2, WAMAPS Unit 9. And again, for multiplying polynomials, you kind of have two different options. You can do them vertically or you can do them horizontally. Now, add and subtract, I kind of like to do them vertically because I can do these columns. Multiplying, that's not my favorite way, but I'm still going to show you this because it's good, and then you can make your decision about what you want to do. Okay, so it's just like if I had, say, 48 times 12 or something. Let's say 148. 148 times 12, right? I take this 2 and I times it, right? And then that comes down here. And then I switch to, let me switch to a different color. I go here, I either put in a 0 or some sort of X placeholder, and then I do these guys, right? And then I add them together, and that gets me my answer. That's a 4. That's exactly what we're going to do with these polynomials. So we're going to deal with it as if it was, they were whole numbers. So let me clear all of this out. So again, I'm going to take this. Do I have it on the, hold on. Do I have this already on the next screen? Oh, I don't. Well, that's okay. I'll draw it on here. So I'm going to take this, -3, and I'm going to times it by that one, and that one, and that will give me the first row of my multiplication. So -3 times -4, because I start on the right and I move to the left again. So that's going to be -12. -3 times positive 2x will be -6x. This is like there's a line right here, right? -3 times a -x squared will be positive 3x squared. So this is the first line of my, yep, 3x squared minus 6x minus 12. I've got that right. And so then see, we've got these arrows. I'm just going to kind of pivot and do all of that stuff. So I'm going to clear this so that we can go on to the next one here. So now I'm going to do the x, and I'm going to times it by everything. Okay, so and I'm going to kind of put some sort of, let me write this maybe as black because then it'll be easier to see. But this is really the purple line. I'm just trying to make it easier to see. So I still have some sort of placeholder right here, right? Because I'm not doing anything in this ones place anymore. I'm switching over to, kind of the next spot over. So x times 4 will be 4x positive. X times 2x is going to be 2x squared. X times a negative x squared is going to be negative x to the third. Because I'm combining, if I have x squared, that's the same as x times x, right? And then now I'm multiplying another x by it, and so then this whole thing can turn into x to the third. Again, you're going to dig into this in a lot more detail once we get to once you get into WAMAP. This is just a quick overview of two different ways that you can do everything. Okay, so I've got my answer there. Let me hit this and make sure that I've got it. Yep, it looks like I've got it right there. So let me clear all my drawings. And so then we've got a situation where I'm just going to, I suddenly have this like opportunity that now it becomes as if I have my columns, right? I'm just going to add these two polynomials together because that's what we do when we get to the end of a multiplication problem is I add my columns together. So again, let me pick a color here that's going to show up. So that negative 12, he's just by himself. Negative 6x plus 4x. They have different signs, so I find the difference between them. The bigger number gives my answer its sign. 3x squared plus 2x squared is going to be 5x squared. And then this guy is just here all by himself. And so then it just becomes like adding polynomials. Did we do that right? We did. We did it right. Let me turn this off. I'll turn the drawings off there so we can see it. Yeah. So it becomes just like adding polynomials. So again, this is one option that you have for multiplying polynomials. This is the other way to do it. Sometimes they call it the FOIL method. It's like you do first, outside, inside, last, but really we're just distributing. So I'm taking this x and I'm going to times it by everything in the other polynomial like parentheses bracket. And I get that information. And then I take the negative 3 and I do the same thing. I times him by everything in the polynomial or in the next polynomial bracket. And that's how I get my answer. So if I were to, let's make this first one. So if I were to take that x and times it by 3x squared, I would get 3x to the third, because it's x times x times x, so then that's 3. X times a negative 2x becomes negative 2x squared, and an x times a negative 4 becomes a negative 4x. So that I'm like done with this guy. Now I'm going to add this to the negative 3 times everything. So negative 3 times 3x squared is going to be negative 9x squared. I'm going to put some little parentheses around him just to show that's a negative and that stays with him. Negative 3 times negative 2x is going to be positive 6x, because a negative times a negative is a positive. 3 times 2 is 6. The x comes along for the ride. And a negative 3 times a negative 4 is going to be a positive 12. And then at this point, I'm just going to start combining everything, right? So those guys will get combined, and 4x and 6x, those guys will get combined, and we will come up with, so again, I go back to basically adding polynomials together, because once I do the multiplication, then I come back and do the rest of the math. Okay, so I have 3x to the third. He just comes straight down because he doesn't have any friends. It's very sad. Negative 2x squared minus 9x squared is going to be negative 11x squared, because those guys have the same sign, so I add them together and they both stay negative. Well, hello, Sammy's coming to say hi to us apparently. I have negative 4x plus 6x. So they have different signs. I'm going to find the difference between them. The bigger number gives the answer its sign. And then this poor little negative 12, he doesn't have any friends either. So he's just going to kind of come along there. Again, you're going to dig into kind of solving these multiplying polynomials this way more in WAMAP. This is just a quick overview. Let me see here. We'll make sure that we got the right answer. Oh, that's this step up here. Ah, there it is. Let me take my let's take all the drawings away. So yeah, so see, 3x to the third minus 11x squared plus 2x plus 12. It becomes like adding polynomials again here at the end. I feel like something about that isn't right. Well, you know what? We're not in charge. It's fine. I think the answer did end up to be okay. All right. So again, we're going to dig into this. Let's go make some notes in our journal. We'll dig into it a little bit more in WAMAP, and hopefully this is helpful. I kind of feel like maybe this is not the best math explaining day for me, but that's okay. We will get through it together. Let me know how it goes. Again, your assignment's going to be 9.2 for this week. Just one little section, but it's adding, subtracting, multiplying these polynomials. Let's go take some journal notes.
Okay, had to move the cat off the table again. Okay, so I'm going to take some notes about multiplying polynomials. And again, so for adding and subtracting, I like the vertical way. For this, I like the horizontal way. And again, if you like the vertical way, maybe you can take some notes about it for yourself that look a little different than this, right? Oh, there he is again. Thanks, buddy. You're in the way. So on weekends, my other job is to teach quilting classes, and Sammy comes to all of those videos too. Hi, buddy. Come here. I need you to move. I need you to move. Oh, for the love of Pete, cat. Okay. Ah, no biting. This is not a fun game. Okay. Ah! So again, I'm going to times the x by everything. I'm going to times that -3 by everything, and I'm going to end up with 3x to the third minus 2x squared minus 4x plus 9x squared plus 6x plus 12. One other thing that I wanted to say about this, so this x times 3x squared, we could think about it as our exponent rules as well, right? Because this is basically x to the 1. There's just one of them. And so I could think of it as like I'm adding, so this is going to be, because I'm multiplying them, so that means I add the exponents, 3x to the 2 plus 1, and that's how it becomes 3x to the third. I forgot to say that on the other PowerPoint video. So again, I'm going to combine those guys. I'm going to combine those guys. And I end up with 3x to the third plus, wait, no, just kidding. I feel like something happened over here. I said that before, right? No. Okay, so I've got, that's going to be -9, but that's going to be positive, and that one's going to be positive. Okay, minus, yeah, okay, 11x squared plus 2x, yep, because the 6 is bigger, plus 12. So again, we're going to dig into this a lot more in WAMAP. You'll get lots and lots of practice. This is just a really quick overview. But I wanted you to have a quick overview so that you can have, again, you can have some notes to take with you to the WAMAP workbook. And as you work through those pages, it's not going to be a complete surprise. You'll have some background. So let me know how it goes. Again, this week our assignment is 9.2. Finish up everything else in this module for the assignment, and let me know if you have questions. You guys are awesome. You can do this.